And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning from Valley View High School here in Caldwell, Idaho. We're joined by the Vice Principal, Todd Zucker. Todd, thank you for having us here.
Hey, great to have you here. Really appreciate you coming out and checking out Valley View High School.
So tell us a little bit about Valley View. Is it a hidden gem or is it a well-known commodity?
It is absolutely a hidden gem. We're out here in Caldwell, out near Lake Lowell, amongst the beautiful farm country that is now starting to get some development going on. But we're a 4A school, and we have some great kids here, great programs. We've been on the Washington Post America's Most Challenging list for the past several years. So we got a lot of great academics, and our athletic and our performance programs are doing really well. So it's a great place to work and a great place to go to school.
What's your response when people always, we just had this big election and everybody's always bagging on Idaho as far as education. For me, Todd, people like you, teachers that come in every day with the chin strap on, get the kids ready to go, educated, motivated. You're the unsung heroes. So what's your response when people say, well, Idaho education needs help?
People really need to spend some time and come in on the front lines here with the students and our teachers and the amount of work that they put in, the effort that they put in. We have incredibly talented people who are selling out every day to help our kids get ready, whether it's for college, whether it's for workforce, whether it's to serve in our military, serve with police and fire. And we really try to expose our kids to a multitude of career opportunities and so that they can make a good choice. But what it comes down to is education's got to be supported. It's not just the schools. It's got to come from the home. And if education is not supported there, then you don't have you might not have those kind of numbers that you're thinking of. And so one of the things we're trying to do is outreach with our parents to help them and help us help the student. And the numbers are the numbers. We test, for instance, on SAT. Our entire state takes the SAT. Not every state does that, so those numbers can be skewed. Anybody can turn data a certain way they want it to go, and I will tell you, I work with some phenomenal teachers. Our district has some phenomenal teachers, and my kids have come through the system. I have 2 in college, one getting ready to graduate, and a lot of it has to do with the education they got here. And I probably will get run out of the state for this when I admit this, but I'm an ex-Californian. I've worked in the California school system. So this being my last day in education in Idaho, I would like to say that we do a great job, and we focus on our kids, and there's a lot more opportunity for kids to work with teachers to better themselves as long as they want to.
Well, it just doesn't seem that the good news gets as much play. We understand Idaho and every place has challenges, but part of the reason we do this program is to tell the story that it's not all negative, because that could be the big narrative here.
Well, we have a state that has put out opportunity funds for students to take dual credit in college, and I'll tell you, as a parent, I have a daughter that's graduating a year early from the University of Idaho because of the dual credit opportunities that she had while she was in high school. And the partnerships we have with our colleges in the state have really helped a lot of kids and helped a lot of parents financially get their students through. And so this state has done a lot. We don't, it's not always about pouring money in a situation.
Sure.
But this is one of those ones where that extra money has helped a lot of students advance to college or whatever it is they're looking to do career-wise.
Well, Todd, as the vice principal here at Valley View on KIDO Talk Radio, you're on the front lines, the ground level of dealing with another state challenge, which is keeping kids in school, which for those of us that have been products of education understand it's the great liberator. I mean, if you get an education, a public education, you can do just about anything in life. Your thoughts on the state's role, not particularly what you're dealing with here, but the state's role in keeping kids in middle school and high school. It's tough to believe for a lot of folks that people would leave high school early.
Right, and that honestly, a lot of that again goes back to what's happening at home, because you have a lot of students who, I mean, we have them for 8 hours a day.
Sure.
When they show up. But it's one of those situations where we're limited in the things we can do. We try, and not just here at Valley View, I mean, around the state. But
I'm going to ask you to hold that thought for a minute.
I'm holding it.
Okay, we're going to go from Valley View and Caldwell to Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., if that's okay with you.
That's a quick trip, but I'll do it.
Okay. Rachel Sutherland joins us now from Fox News Radio. Rachel, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Hello?
Hello, Rachel. Good to have you with us. Sorry about that. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Glad to be here on this day of mourning for the former President George H.W. Bush. And here just a little while, a hearse and the motorcade is going to make its way to Washington National Cathedral for the funeral. That begins at 11 a.m. Eastern. Over the past couple of days, we've seen so many people lining up and filing into the rotunda there at the Capitol. I was able to get over there for a few minutes in the rotunda yesterday. Mm-hmm. And what really struck me about being there was the absolute quiet. All you could hear is the footsteps of people walking past the flag-draped casket and the honor guards standing there. They were motionless with their bayonets, 4 of them. And I was talking to planners at the regional Capitol regional office that they execute these state funerals. Spokesman told me, and I didn't know this, they start planning for a state funeral the moment a president takes office. So these plans have been in the works for a very long time, and they work very closely with the family. So everything that you're seeing play out in Texas and Washington this week is all what the Bushes wanted and what the president himself wanted.
Well, and it's nice to see the former president meeting with the current president under these solemn circumstances.
Absolutely. President Trump and the First Lady went over to Blair House yesterday for a meeting about 20 minutes long, and it all appeared very cordial. We know that the Bushes reached out to the Trumps last summer and said, we want you to be involved. And so this has been in the works for quite some time, and it was a show of unity because we know that they've had their issues between the two families, but they appeared to be unified yesterday as the nation really pauses to remember this remarkable life.
Indeed. Rachel, I've been in the rotunda for President Reagan lying in state. Do you have a couple seconds to just briefly describe the scene with the shadows, the architecture, the paintings, all looking down, the people, and the honor guard? It's amazing.
Yes, it is. It is amazing. And I've been in a rotunda many times. This is my first time for a state funeral for a former president. But coming in and you walk in, and again, what the biggest thing to me was the silence and the footsteps echoing. That's all you could really hear. People standing, and some were praying. I saw people making the symbol of the cross. I saw people just really being quiet and reflective. I wish I had been there for the moment that Senator Bob Dole came in, and he made such great effort to get out of his wheelchair and salute his former World War II veteran and also political opponent. I mean, but that was not present there yesterday as he then collapsed back into his wheelchair, and you could just see the look on his face. One would think maybe he was contemplating his own mortality. He's a year older than the former president. And yeah, I mean, the honor guard there, again, talking with the planners, this is really an honor for these service members to be able to do this. They rotate in and out every 30 minutes. So I saw that happening as they would just quietly and slowly leave the rotunda, another one taking their place. And yeah, the frescoes above, amazing artwork there. If you haven't been in the Capitol Rotunda, it's definitely a must-see, a bucket list item. But certainly during a state funeral, it's almost indescribable.
Rachel, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Rachel Sutherland joining us exclusively live from the National Cathedral, getting ready for the funeral of George Herbert Walker Bush. May God rest his soul. Kevin Miller, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio Time at 6:16. Todd Zucker joining us once again, principal at Valley View. When you hear that report, and obviously as history happens, what impact does it have on the kids you're teaching today here at Valley View?
We really have tried to teach our history we've actually made some changes in our curriculum because a lot of our history books stopped before Vietnam. And, you get to the Cold War and things would kind of peter out, and then the school year ends.
That's kind of like when we were kids, though. It stopped at about Vietnam.
It did. So we've really worked on ramping that up. And there's, so we have several students who have relatives who fought Vietnam, fought the Gulf War.
Sure.
And so we've talked a lot about what's going on in our country within the context of that, and the presidents and their impact on our country. We really try to have good, open discussion with them. And again, a lot of these kids come in with views based on what they've been brought up with. We always ask them to research and form your own opinion. I mean, you're always going to, have conversations at home and whatnot, but you really need to start thinking for yourself. That's one of our big jobs here, is to get these students to start thinking and critical thinking and understanding how to get information and what is good information, what is bad information.
Well, it depends on your opinion what's good and what's bad, I guess.
Correct. It is always. You try, that is a true statement. It is all about, about opinion, but the other part of it, though, is to respect those who have a very different opinion. You and I came up in a country where we at least listen to one another,
right?
And we're trying to teach our kids that just because you shout really loud doesn't mean you're right.
Indeed, Todd. Tell us a little bit about the Penny Drive and some other things going on, and we'll start with that here at Valley View.
Well, we have Penny Wars going on this week, and the classes and the staff are raising funds. Again, it's that holiday season. A lot of people that are in need during this time. We have a coat drive going on by our It's On Us Club, and I have some folks coming in later to speak a little bit more in detail on those activities and how we're trying to really get involved with our community, help our community out, teach our students the value of service, serving others, helping others. I've found in my own personal experiences working with at-risk kids that is one of the most important components, because they get a sense of self-worth. And right. Once they see that they have value, it really helps them move forward and being good, successful adults. We were talking about attendance before we took that long trip to Washington. And one of the things that I am every day, kids hear me in the hallways, get to class on time, because I came from the business world before I got an education. And one of the things that we always look for is you show up,
right?
And you show up on time. And the rest of it, we can train you, we can do that, but you got to get to class on time. I'm always yelling at them, late people get fired, let's go.
Right.
But those few life lessons that these kids can get to be ready for what's waiting for them on the world outside, those are the things we're really trying to help them beyond just the subject matter of the classes that we have.
Todd, we appreciate you. Thank you for having us.
I really appreciate you being here.
You're listening to Kevin Miller on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Now, I'm going to apologize for airing the following here. This is from The View yesterday, and I had a chance to watch this as it happened. Actually, it happened on Monday. But you have people talking about the death of President Bush. And we've had our own public and private disagreements here with our own Miller Militia family on 107.5 FM, 580 AM concerning the life and legacy of President Bush. And, just like here at Valley View, every opinion's welcome. We love to go back and forth and hear what folks have to say, whether we agree with them or not. That's the beauty of KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Radio, really, for the last 90 years here in the Treasure Valley, Idaho's first radio station, before television, before FM, before AM. There is only one, and we honor our predecessors and their great legacy this day by being on the air once again, fulfilling that mantle that they've so graciously given us throughout the many years. So here we have The View, these folks going back and forth, and you have on one hand Joy Behar trying to use President Bush's death to go after Donald Trump. Meghan McCain has an issue, and they have a meltdown. Let's take a listen.
I want to say one thing about him that was not picked up really, because as a candidate, he said, those who think we're powerless to do anything about the greenhouse effect are forgetting about the White House effect. And then he signed into law the Clean Air Act Amendment of 1990, one of the most sweeping environmental statutes ever. Yeah. This president that we have now.
So right now, it's okay. She's talking about what George Bush did, and then all of a sudden it goes bad. Now, this is why reality television is so good, and I don't understand people that talk about entertainment, they jump into politics, because politics, as we know, is polarizing. Politics is for adults. Politics is for the big boys and the big girls. Here's where it goes very bad, but we're going to listen to it for entertainment purposes only. And if you're like our friend Russ Smers in Star, Russ, this will wake you up.
Now is trying to unravel everything that he did and Obama did. And if I ever become a one-issue voter, it will be about pollution and the greenhouse effect and
Can
the
we
fact
focus
that
on the president, please? I don't want to talk about Trump.
Well, I do
we're in
for a
the
second,
moment.
so
We're honoring a great president in the past.
Please. I wanted to talk about
But we're just honoring, but I'm not interested in your one issue.
I don't care what you're interested in. I'm talking.
I don't care what you're interested in
We'll
either.
be right back.
Boy.
Later, Christmas controversy. A radio station just...
There we have it. Back to a radio station, another controversy. Baby, it's cold outside. By the way, that station, if you heard about it, well, you heard about it. They didn't want to play it because people thought it was offensive. Now people have voted, and it is not offensive. That's why we don't have a true democracy. Anyway, back to this point. So Joy Behar uses the B word to describe young Meghan McCain, and she threatens to quit The View because she calls Meghan entitled. This is the problem when everybody has opinions. When do you listen? And I appreciate Meghan McCain's point. Can we just talk about the president? And Joy Behar wanted to talk about, well, Donald Trump, the current president, not President Bush. So we'll have much more on that in a minute. It is 6:26 on KIDO Talk Radio. Your thoughts, as always, 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
7:30 Gabbard.
And let's go to the phones on KIDO Talk Radio. R&R, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller.
Kay Millie, already? Wow. Hey, I have this order ready from Papa John's. Could I have that delivered tomorrow morning at the Eagle High School? Was that double cheese on your cheeseburger, Papa John's?
That'll be at Friday at Eagle High School, but today we're at Valley View.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Friday morning, you can have it delivered there, and you'll have it cooked. Okay, well, here's what
I don't know if they do morning pizza, but we'll try.
But is that double cheese?
Double cheese on the cheeseburger special, yes.
All right. Which size? Extra large or?
You know it, brother.
Or just one for you and one for...
one for the staff, but yes, one for me and one for the staff.
Yeah. One for the Dalshan family, Caroline and Brew. Okay,
sure.
Anyhow, back to the point. Hey, it's so bitter. Hey, first of all, my comrades that are living out there under the bridge and the Vietnam eras that are in their cars and trying to stay warm this morning, please be mindful that you don't have to suicide. There are people that care because of Kay Millie and his team. Please assist all my comrades, even if they're strung out and dying from aftermath. The Teamsters, a salute to the Teamsters. I started my career on the Union Pacific Railroad in '69, and the Teamsters that are hopefully still involved in sanitation engineers. It's so bitter cold this morning, and all of us are scurrying around getting ready to buy more stuff so we can trash more stuff at the curb, and they'll just be packed heavy and sit there frozen because nobody's picking up garbage today. The Teamsters, may they be blessed for their efforts at 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're packing more garbage in so we can scurry around and head out for Christmas. Kay Millie, God bless you for what you do. I love you. Bye.
A very emotional R&R. We love you, R&R. And by the way, I did want to say this. We always salute the proud workers here in the Treasure Valley on KIDO Talk Radio. And for people that are delivering the newspapers, and I know that we have a lot of them that do that listen to this program in the morning, because, you've got the Statesman, you've got the Press, maybe you've got the New York Times, USA Today, and you're in your car. It takes a while to warm up the car. Then you get the papers in, and then you're throwing them, and you're going, man, I got to have something entertaining and captivating to get me through. Most of you maybe are done already, but on this cold day, we just want to salute you and, of course, everybody else that are working. You know, the folks on State Street, they continue to widen it in these frigid temperatures, people building homes. But in particular, I just thought of the people driving around right now, tuned into the car, thinking, man, nobody's thinking of me. I'm thinking of you. We're thinking of you. And be careful and stay warm, everybody. And once again, we want to thank you for Miller's Mission. We can't thank you enough. This is where your donations go into play, is to keep those folks fed and to keep those folks warm. Every day when we wake up, we thank God that we have a warm home, right? Especially in current temperatures like this. And think about food insecurity, a place to sleep insecurity, and because of you, you've made a difference. You've fed folks, and you've clothed them, and you've given them shelter. So God bless you, and thank you. More coming up from Valley View, and we continue to remember President Bush and take your phone calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And getting back to this issue that is blowing up, will the new Congress or the old Congress take a look at a new report from the U.S. Census confirming that 63% of non-citizens are on welfare? That's 4.6 million households. What does that mean? And Bob Dole's emotional tribute to President Bush. We're going to talk about their famous political feud and really what happened yesterday. I'm sure you saw it on social media. I put it on my Facebook. It was very moving. All that and more as we're starting the day on the right side with Kevin Miller, 107.5 FM, 580 AM from Valley View High School, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Good to be here at Valley View High School. Derek Self joining us, information technology and video production educator, instructor here. Mr. Self, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
So this is the future the kids are living in, information technology and video production. How do you merge that? Is it tough to get the kids into it, or are they just digital natives?
I mean, for the most part, all of them are digital natives, and that's really one thing that I try to push in my courses is instead of just being consumers of technology and media, of how to actually use it, fix it, and make a career out of it.
Well, I would say that those fields must be booming.
Yes, they are.
So tell us about the curriculum here.
So the information technology, we teach curriculum based off of the CompTIA A+, and Network Plus certification exams with the goal that they come out of high school with an industry certification. And then the video production class we just rebooted last year, started as just kind of a basic video editing class, creating video for new media, and then it's really blossomed into transitioning into a more traditional broadcast, but with new media.
So you have a newscast here. How does that work?
Yeah, so it's full as of right now. It's fully scripted, just because of the time crunch that we have, where it's so new. Where they'll write out a script of the events that are happening. We'll shoot it the day before, cut it up, edit it, and put it out twice a week. We do have goals in the hopefully near future to do it as a daily broadcast.
Boy, that would be tough. So, are the kids taking to this? It seems to be that everybody is a broadcaster or a blogger or a vlogger these days.
Yeah, there are a lot of them that are taking to it, and there are others that have they have those eyes wide open moments that they realize that it's a very high intense class to get stuff done and get it done on a deadline.
Why education for you?
I actually worked in information technology and actually radio for a while, and I also coached football out here at Valley View when I first moved up to the Treasure Valley, and then when I finished my bachelor's degree, I was putting in for IT jobs in the private sector in Boise, and eventually decided to come into the classroom when Ridgeview opened because they needed a information technology teacher, and a lot of it really has to do with being a football coach and seeing those young men grow and mature. I really wanted to be around them in the school to help them with more than just sports. And after this is my third year now, and it's really transitioned to all my students, just encouraging them to become better people and moving into society.
Do the kids get younger and you get older? Or is
Yes.
that how it works?
Yeah, totally.
You know, just hearing what you're saying, Mr. Self, you really have a love for this. Can you describe that for people when, you know, people say, well, teachers this, teachers that, but you can hear in your voice on the radio the difference that you're making and what it means to you and translating that to making a difference in these kids?
The biggest thing that is really for me is the students that come out of it and have come back. I mean, this is only my third year, but I've had multiple students come back and, you know, talk about how the skills that they've learned in my classes have readied them for life after high school. And a lot of my students in the classroom see the potential of a career in information technology or media.
No, I think those are fast growing, especially. It's amazing to me, and I've taken some classes, I've studied, but just how ubiquitous the media has become. Everybody on their phones. You can be at a dinner table and everybody has their nose in a phone, watching videos, creating videos. The growth of platforms is just amazing. What do you think it'll be like in 5 years or 10 years?
5 years, I don't think it's going to change too much. You know, you look at social media and Twitter's, 12 years now? 2006, I believe, is when they started. And it seems like it was just yesterday. So in 5 years, I don't think it'll change much. But with how much has changed in the last 10 years, I can't guess where we're going to be in 10 years.
Sure. But we can guess you're going to be still committed to education, huh?
Yeah, and teaching those students the new stuff that is available to them in those 10 years.
Anything you'd like to share with parents?
You know, just keep on encouraging your kids to, you know, do their coursework, and, you know, if they're struggling in class, don't be afraid to ask the teacher. That's what we're there to help. And I see a lot of times that students will come up to me and ask me how to bring up their grade, and I just tell them, well, you need to turn in your assignments, and then that's when they tell me, well, I'm confused on this one part.
Sure.
And so I have to remind them, hey, guess what? I've got 20 other students to tend to in this class, so if I'm helping someone else, don't take that as me ignoring you. Take that as, hey, he's busy. I'll get him once he's available and come up and ask for help. Sure.
Mr. Self, we appreciate you. Thank you for starting out so early, but, well, you're a football guy. You're used to getting up early.
Yeah, sometimes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great day. Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Great to be here at Valley View High School. I want to thank our friends at Valley View, Cap Ed Credit Union, Team Mazda, Subaru. I can't remember how, after this season is over, we're actually going to have to document how many schools, how many years we've been doing this. It is just amazing. And Valley View, a new school on the tour, and it's great to have other schools understanding the value of promoting their brand. And if you want your school to be a part of our spring campaign, you can email me, Kevin, at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Now, back to the politicization of the death of President Bush. We're going to hear from Sean Hannity in a minute. But before that, I just want to see if I can rightfully paint a picture for you. And Rachel Sutherland described it vividly, but the beautiful Capitol Rotunda. Now, if you've ever been to our rotunda in Boise, you know what I'm talking about. It's beautiful, it's ornate, but then you have all these pictures painted on the roof or the ceiling of the rotunda, staring down. And John Decker actually described what it's called. I can't pronounce it. I can't think of it, so I'm not going to attempt it. And you have images of Washington and Lincoln literally staring down like what you've seen at St. Peter's Basilica, where, you have Adam and God and everybody literally staring down. So the image is, as you've seen, you have people walking in, and as Rachel said, it's very quiet. And then you have the brilliant young members of our military. Each branch of service, the honor guard from that branch, with their weapon, with their bayonet, guarding the body of President Bush. And you have people from all walks of life coming in. And world leaders, people that have worked in the administration, and others in a human form. Well, Kevin Miller, what do you mean in a human form? if you get a chance to see that video of Bob Dole, if you haven't seen it, you can go to my personal Facebook page. You can go to any place. Just Google Bob Dole, George Bush. And Bob Dole and George Bush were bitter rivals. In 1998, it looked like Bob Dole was going to be the Republican nominee for president. Well, Kevin, how does that work? Ronald Reagan endorsed George Bush. That was his guy. Well, Reagan stayed out of the primary process. So Dole had won, or I think Pat Robertson had won Iowa. And this is why it's so important about forgiveness and faith, and even bitter enemies can become friends at the end. And I know this because I covered Dole. Well, I was 20 years old, but, you cover Dole as much as you can. And I voted for Dole in the 88 primary. No, actually, I voted for Kemp, but regardless. Dole was ahead in New Hampshire, and George Bush looked like he was going to lose. Because in the old days, if you lost Iowa, you lost New Hampshire, it was over. So New Hampshire has the first presidential primary, and it wasn't as stacked as it is now. So what Bush did is he had his buddy, then Governor John Sununu, or as we called him, Big Sununi, go to one of the television stations. Well, in New Hampshire, there's only one television station. It's like the reverse of Idaho, yet geographically smaller. And you've got about the same population, very dense. But there's only one television station in the state. Imagine if we only had one television station. So the governor of New Hampshire pressures the TV station to put on these attack ads against Bob Dole the weekend before the Tuesday vote. Dole can't respond, can't recover. His famous lines were, "Tell George Bush to quit lying about my record." And Bush won New Hampshire, went on to win the presidency. And they had been bitter rivals throughout their careers, both World War II veterans. And, of course, Bob Dole won the nomination in 96. And if you've ever read, one of the great books that I urge you to read, it's about 1,000 pages, and it doesn't have pictures. It's called What It Takes by Richard Ben Cramer. And Richard Ben Cramer describes the 1988 race. And Bob Dole, a true American hero, Poppy Bush, a true American hero, their lives very different. Dole grew up poor, Bush grew up rich, but they were part of that greatest generation. And to see Bob Dole yesterday, confined to a wheelchair, Bob Dole, when he came back from World War II, he can't use his left arm. He's very disabled. In fact, he would try to do pull-ups to break through the scar tissue, to no avail. And so to see Bob Dole at 95 years old, something like that, in a wheelchair, and you could tell his aide did not want him to get up. But Bob Dole understands respect. And everybody would not have blamed Bob Dole if he sat down. You could tell his legs don't work. But by gosh, he was going to salute his former bitter rival and honor him as he laid in state. That's what the folks that badmouth our great country, our great community don't get. The heroic nature of a Bob Dole, of a George Bush. Really? That's what they don't get. And to use somebody's death to go after somebody politically, well, that's just low. You're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller with you from Valley View High School, promoting our school, securing our future. Coming up next, we'll continue to take a look at President Bush. And Sean Hannity has some thoughts for the libs. That and more next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Relief. Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800.com. Magic Finger.
Enter to win the Almond Roca Nutcracker VIP giveaway at Facebook.com/Almond Roca.
Promote our schools, secure our future. Brought to you by Cap Ed Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru.
We're out here in Caldwell, out near Lake Lowell. We have some great kids here, great programs.
Now, back to Kevin Miller at Valley View High School on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM and 580 AM.
Blessed to be part of your day. Our time is 6:55, broadcasting from Valley View High School. Our first time here. Great to be here. Let's go to the phones. Doug from Mountain Home joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin. I got something I'd like to ask you to put out. I was just listening to Sean Hannity last night coming home from work, and he was talking with a Navy SEAL and a brother of a Navy SEAL, and they're doing the same stuff to these guys that they were doing back, Kevin, in the last part of the Bush administration all the way through the Obama. They got this guy, this guy's brother, a Navy SEAL. They have him in jail for fighting ISIS. I mean, another JAG lawyer, Navy, trying to make a name for himself. Listen to this. You can get this stuff off of Sean Hannity. Okay, Kevin? I did catch the interview last night, and the guy has a medical condition, and he's going to spend a year in the brig before it even comes to court. Yeah. What is up with this? I don't get this. It's our American fighting men. We just had a president just die. I didn't really care for him, but he was an American president, fought in World War II. You never heard of none of this stuff back then because this country was America, and the people stood behind our greatest generation. Well, these guys are fighting for us. I just don't get this. So if Crapo's going to be with you today, jab him in the ribs and tell him that Doug Hooper called about this. I don't ever hear none of my representatives say anything on the news about any. The only one I hear anybody say anything, Kevin, is Lindsey Graham. That's the only one I hear saying anything on the news, and to me, he's talking up a friggin' rope as far as I'm concerned about the guy that got killed over there. You know who I'm talking about, the reporter. I could care less. I care about my fighting men in my country that are protecting my constitutional rights. So I'm trying not to get wound up, but this stuff ought to wind everybody up that isn't American, Kevin.
You're right, Doug. You're right. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye. Traffic and weather together, 107.5 FM.
Kevin's Eric Gabbard.
And Kevin Miller in the morning here from Valley View High School. Do want to thank Valley View for having us. A couple more hours here. CapEd Credit Union and T Mazda Subaru. Senator Crapo will be joining us next hour. Look forward to catching up with him. Of course, remembering President Bush, more of your phone calls. And we talk about the media trying to use the death of President Bush as a way of undermining President Trump. And remember, they didn't like President Bush back in the day. They didn't like his son either. So we've got a lot to roll with as we continue to wake up on the right side. Have a blessed day. Kevin Miller, Fox News next. Stay tuned.